having a familiar female like that means that we don't have to assume anymore. So you can just see a crocodile hanging on the ropes there. See the lumps in the water? That's her back.
Ooh, crocodile.
So just from here, remember, 2 at a time, 3 at a time only. I'll take the first 2 or 3 with me. The rest of you wait here until I call you, okay? And you'll see her, she's just hanging on the ropes, facing the tails facing the walkway. So first 2 or 3.
She always hanging around here, that one?
She's got a nest in there.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
She's not bothered because I made sure that she's not particularly scared.
Okay.
And then that way we can we know that they're here, because if I tell you they're here and then you don't see them, you'll think,
yeah. Wow.
I've got some crimson finches nesting on here as well.
Okay.
Head, hold the pole, step onto the seat, and head to the very back seat down there. So step across the seats.
Okay.
Come on down, guys. Next. Back seat, back here.
Right. Okay.
And face the front. There's a snapped off split crocodile tooth on the top of the console there too.
Wow. Oh yeah.
So that came in the boat the other day. It split in half and landed in here.
You want us on either side or?
Yeah, either side. Either
Okay.
side.
All right.
Good. You've been on boats before?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. They all sit on that side. Just 15. Next. Come on down. What's the next? Hold the pole. Tell you, don't do what you think. So if I tell you to do something, do that. Otherwise, we'll get going. Now remember, this time goes quickly. We'll get out. Remember, the water's in part flood, so it's pretty high at the moment. But nowhere near as high as it can get, because the river's right up to the bottom of that bridge. And then it's 20 kilometres wide here. That's why they're putting the road higher, trying to get access all year. Every 3 years, the highway goes. Alright, so we'll head up. We've got about 300 metres to go before we start to really get into the Crocs, but keep your eyes open. There's one dead ahead of us in the water, about 40 yards. It's going to go down our port side, left side. We'll keep going. A little female. Now we're still not in the zone where we can operate, so we have to head up about another 200 metres or so, and then we'll be in the feeding zone. Crocodiles will be out of the water, back behind the tree line, trying to get some heat from the sun. So that'll make it, what's going to make it hard, they won't be in the water, they'll be out on the land. Some of them are in, near the landing, just because I've been dealing with the boat this morning. And we're going to have to try and draw these guys in. Got the run up and the run back, so if we don't aren't too successful on the run up, that should give the Crocs enough time to enter the water for our run back. And we know they're not in the water's pretty cool. They don't want to lose too much body heat, so they'll have to come out to energise. All we'll do is we'll just make our way slowly up now. 100 crocodiles just in this 3 kilometres. Wow. There's quite a lot here, and getting them into the water and getting them to do what we want can be very difficult. Ahead of us, and I'll keep an eye out behind us for anything entering behind us. And we're going to zigzag a bit from side to side, touch on both sides, and we'll try and locate the croc. First one's just coming out over here on our right hand side. I'm pretty sure we'll just come into the bank over here. It's underwater, so I can't tell if it's a crocodile yet. So all we're going to do is try not to bang the tree trunks and logs that are under us coming into the bank here. And we'll just see if it is a crocodile or a barramundi. We get 3 types of sharks in here as well. I'm just going to have a look. Whether it is or isn't. If it's not a crocodile, we'll keep moving. It may take a few minutes, maybe a minute to find out, but we'll have to do this a lot. They'll get set up. So this is a real patience thing. We have to have a lot of patience for this.
A bit like fishing, huh?
It's a lot worse than fishing.
Oh, okay, a lot worse.
Yeah, this can be difficult, so... I think we've got something near us and I'm sure we'll just find out for sure. It is a female, so we're just going to get to the food source now. Now it'll just appear on the targets, it's right there. You want to catch a fish this size on your line, huh? Now they're not interested particularly in the food, so it's going to be difficult for us. We have to watch these boats, these fishing boats. Now what we're seeing with the projections from the water, what they call jumping, is actually a natural characteristic that crocodiles use to secure birds and things like that out of trees and animals off riverbanks. Just the same as people would jump for high things and animals would jump for things out of reach, so do the crocodiles project like they are here. We're just going to try and get that back. Now we want to, we don't want her to get it straight away. We want to get a bit of stuff in for her. So we want to get her to do a couple of jumps and things before she gets any food. And just so you know, this is just a chicken frame. So we're just using the back end of the chicken. I've got it tied by the parson's nose, and this is what's left after you guys get all your chicken fillets. Now we're going to see if we can get it to the other side. Because the crops are a bit difficult at the moment, we'll see if we can do them on both sides. Each one. Now this is a female, she's about 16 years old and she owns this area here. This is her territory. We'll just see if we can move it. What's that?
What's the general lifespan?
We think they can live for about 100 to 150 years. There's been no formal studies to determine how long they can actually live for. So no formal studies have ever been done to determine the lifespan of a saltwater crocodile. We need about 200 years to know for sure. So
Coming around.
Oops. I try not to bang you around with the feet, so I don't think it's all rotten meat. This is fresh food that you guys could eat before it goes into the water. They haven't got much energy yet until they sun themselves, so they need to energise by sunning. They're not like us, they don't derive their energy by eating. Certain temperature, and the blood thickens, just by not having the right temperature. Like a car, you know, your oil's not quite viscous enough if you don't have that 36 to 37 degrees in our body. Now again, we're just trying to get her to be focused on the food. Now, so he's about 700 kilos.
Ooh, he's a big boy, he's staring at us.
So what we do is he's just focused on the food source, he's waiting to come out. So they know that there's a particular food source. Now he's not all that good at projecting from the water. This is sneaky. They only nickname him. So he's about a 1/3 size saltwater crocodile. They can get 3 times bigger.
He's got a big arm on him.
Now remember, Sneaky doesn't really like to jump around, so
He is very sneaky, isn't he?
yeah, he's very sneaky. So I only give crocodiles names. Everybody wants names, and they don't have any from birth, so I give them to them as characteristical names. So they get names by what they do and how they do it. We're going to bring him over here by touch. Remember I said about touching the water?
Yeah.
And they will immediately respond.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, well, he's 3/4 the length of our boat. And he weighs heavier than the boat, so he's without people in, so he's about 3/4 of a tonne. We're only seeing a very small proportion. If we had no high water, we'd have mud banks on the low tides. I'd be able to get him out for you so you can see him out of the water on the mud, which is much more impressive. So we'll do the same here. We'll give you a chance to do this, and we're getting him to knock the food out of the way with his snout. So we can get a bit more in. Now he won't get teased or anything, so don't think I'm teasing him here. He doesn't even know I'm here doing this, and he doesn't know you're on the boat. Do you know how I know that he doesn't know you're here?
He's not looking at us.
No, he's not in here.
Oh, okay.
Because he can come in here over the bars.
Yeah.
The bars and the mesh aren't here to keep the crocs out, they're here to keep us out. So those bars and mesh are about keeping the people under control, not the animals. The animals are fine, we just got to do what it takes. And people make mistakes. Complacency.
Bloody F we do.
So complacency is a huge killer. On the road especially. You guys get complacent on the road, don't you?
Absolutely.
Back in the days when the coppers used to drive around with a beer on their knee. Remember those days? I still remember. Up here anyway, down south might be different. But, hey? Trap loads. Every one of these crocodiles is known. They've got trackers. Some of them are carrying GPS trackers as well in their internals, in their gun. We're just going to move. So we can put the boat over here a bit. Once we get used to the creatures, they're not as bad as people think. Snakes and spiders, lizards, like crocodiles are the biggest lizard. So these guys are the biggest lizard in the world. And yet, as I said before, they are not dinosaurs, so they're older than the dinosaurs. They go back further. If you want a proper name, or a name you want to call crocodiles, you can call them archosaurs. They're not quite archosaurs, but they nearly are. You know how your alphabet goes? Than even a Tyrannosaurus Rex at 6 tonnes, 6 metres tall. His bite force is way, way, way more. He's a beautiful lad, isn't he? I've known him 18 years.
Wow. Is he the biggest one in here?
No. This is only 1/3 of their maximum size. They can get 3 times bigger. In fact, the largest crocodile ever seen in the world was shot just outside a town called Normanton, far north Queensland, 1956. That crocodile shot that day was 8.64 metres long, so twice his. Now remember, the string is digestible. Life expectancy, so they only have a 1% chance of living. And that's just how it is. They have a 99% mortality throughout their lifetime. So we got him, the female that was there. The young male's gone. This is another female just coming out. That's high boat. You hire them in town for about $3.50 for the day. They actually come from corroboree. Now that happened quite some time ago, and actually about 6 years ago. It was in Kakadu National Park, and that was because the guy was interfering with the water. He was putting bucket after bucket after bucket in the water with his boat turned off, and the crocodile arrived thinking it was a food source. So remember, any movements will attract their attention, so they just are targeting my movement. Now remember, it's not going to be too keen to do this with the male not far away, so we're just going to have a look and see whether we can get it to do it. If we can get this one to do it once or twice, then we'll move on, look for another one from the other side. So he's here, right, the male. So it's just going to take that, I reckon, and get out of here. Oh, I'll go for a swallow, maybe. Head up. No. We're going to lose this bit. We lost that bit. I hope you got that. We'll get to this side before he arrives. Now the water's clear in this time of the year because of the fresh water, so we get to see some of its body under the water. Sorry. I told you, got to watch the pole and the meat. Now remember, if that male turns up, this one's going to skedaddle into the bushes, take off, get out of here. This is most likely a young male, I think. We'll soon know when the alpha turns up. Now it knows it's coming. Still a bit of distance between them, I think. See how it goes. Sorry, so he's onto it, I told you. So we got to fight, see how we fought straight away.
Oh, that's the male.
Yeah, that's
the alpha.
That's Sneaky, isn't it?
Yep.
Good on you, Sneaky.
Remember I told you he was on his way. As soon as he detected that male here, he made maximum speed underwater. And his top speed underwater is about 50 kilometres an hour.
Wow, look at that.
So he can move. And there's our male, young male behind us, just
He's
gone out of here.
He's leaving Dodge.
Yep, so definitely a male. He was straight onto it as soon as he turned up. And this is what I tell you that he does every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If he doesn't do that, he'll end up with lots of males in his area. And then he'll have serious competition for all the girls, and he's got 20 females. So he doesn't want to lose his opportunity. Because he's here, we'll just do him again. I hope you got some photos of our younger male before he got drilled. Anybody have video?
Yeah,
I got video.
Rolly bang and everything.
He might have my voice all over it, though. He might have to dub that out.
No, actually leave that in there.
I quite often don't shut up, so if you want me to shut up for a minute, just tell me to shut up.
No, keep going, dude.
So, bring him a little bit closer to the shadows here. Now his tail's still back behind the boat. Just breathing out, that's all. The nostrils are about the same size as ours, but his lung capacity is about 5 times ours. So he gets 5 times as much air, 5 times as much air as we do coming out through nostrils the same size. Sounds like a compressor hose coming off. And they breathe out a lot. It's like and you'll hear it at a distance sometimes. When they surface, they'll breathe out suddenly, and you can hear it it sounds like a tyre going down all of a sudden. There's a bit more of his length back here now, so. And we probably won't do him on the other side, so certainly he'd be gone up the nearest tree, whatever. You wouldn't stick around to find out what it was. Same deal. Now we're about 80 kilometres in there from the sea where we are. The ocean's behind us, about 80 kilometres. This is fresh water, and we've got saltwater crocodiles. And one thing you'll find is that there's a misnomer about saltwater and freshwater. Now freshwater crocodiles live in freshwater only and do not enter the sea. Saltwater crocodiles live in all water. Doesn't matter what it is, they'll live in all of it. I don't have COVID, by the way, if you hear me cough, I'm asthmatic.
Join the club, brother.
Yeah, I've got asbestosis.
Oh, God.
Mildly, but it's triggered asthmatic response. I never knew I even had it until a few years ago when I was having trouble breathing when I was working home. Territories. Now with this tree here, this tree right on our left is the border between 2 males.
Oh, wow.
So that first male, Sneaky, his territory finishes right here. Now it's not a marker for them. They know where their territories are. They do not have to mark their boundaries. They know exactly where they are in real time, all the time. They have a kind of global positioning system inbuilt. They know where they are on the planet in real time. I don't know how it works, some kind of magnetic chemical most likely. It's not hard to make something that points north. The left on the right first. We'll get them to take some of this food off the water for us. This will give you a chance to get the photos. And this is two types of kite. So you've got black kites and whistling kites. I'll do some on the other side in a minute too. I don't think they're hawks, these are kites. Sometimes they're called chicken hawks, but they're not a hawk. You know, Australia has a huge array of birds of prey. Now you know that birds are the last dinosaur on Earth and only dinosaur left on Earth are birds. You know that by genetics, by genealogy and genetics, chickens are actually the closest genetic bird genetically to the dinosaurs, so they're the closest. Cassowaries are the closest to the dinosaurs by characteristic. And you know that cassowaries can chew you, and they can reach 7 feet tall, so they can get big. So we'll do a little bit more on this side, and then we'll do some there. Give you guys over here a chance. I'll try to nip in this side, and sometimes some of the fat comes back in here. Just back the boat up because that's no good. We'll move so fast, you guys, I'll never get that on. Now when they arrive at the back of your boat, it's because of the telltale. The jet of water that's squirting in, telling us that's what they arrive for. It's not the boat noise. They arrive because that jet of water is interfering with the surface tension. Okay. You got that straight. That's a female, not the male we're looking for. So that's a female.
There he is.
Oops.
There he is, he's just poked his head up.
There he is, so you see the female exit as soon as he turns up.
Hello.
Now he's bigger than the first one, but he's younger. He's about 40. The first one we had, the first alpha, was about 55. He's about 40, but in his short life, he's achieved a much larger size. Remember, they just want to snap it if they can. They don't want to have to jump around and stuff for it. And he's not the best at the moment when he's cool like this. Getting him to actually do anything is very difficult. As you can see, they're just not really interested in the food. So we have to try and entice him with a little bit of a stroke across his nostrils with the food. We'll just put it right on his nostrils again. Bacon and eggs in the morning, guys. There's some of his tail back there. And they are truly magnificent creatures. Now you can see the first ear slot open behind his eye. When you look, you'll see a little black line. That's his ear he's listening to us with. And behind that is a panel. Looks like a big teardrop on its side, and that's his hydrophone specialist ear for listening underwater. Now they only have their mouth, they can't use their feet to push food in or hold it or anything like that, so they only have a mouth to deal with. So imagine if I gave you guys food with your hands tied behind your back, how would you go? So you have to understand that the animal is very determined when it can only has a mouth to work with. That's why people have to be very careful that this jaw pressure is extremely powerful. So we get a bit of that snap, right? So his jaw pressure was, sorry mate.
That's right.
His jaw pressure was tested again, and I got 2.8 metric tons was the strongest bite from him. So even though he's younger, he's actually larger than the first male we had. Got about the same size head, but his body's much bigger. Now whenever you look in their mouth and you see white teeth, they're new. White teeth, and the orange ones are stained with tannin. They do not ever get rotten teeth, that's a wives' tale. And he changes his teeth about 50 times in a lifetime.
They get tannin from teeth.
The tannins from all the leaves. So same deal with your tea leaves. That's the tannin coming out of the tea, and in the tannin is your antioxidants and your caffeine. But here, millions of dry leaves does the same thing. You can do it at home. Get a bucket, half fill it with dry leaves in the yard, and then fill it up with water and leave it sit for about a week. and you'll see how the water turns a really dark brown colour. And that's the tannin coming out of it. That's how they used to get the tannin for tanning hides a long time ago, turn the skin brown when you get leather. So brown leather's been tanned. I'm going to see if we can give him a piece. We'll just come back here a little, see if we can get him up one more time on this side, and then we're going to reposition the boat, try to him on the other side, and we'll finish up here. Come on, you. I'll just relocate the boat. That's a female. Back out to the deeper water, see if he'll follow us. But I've only got one piece left, and she's cleared off.
She was just here.
Yeah, she's probably on that side. We're just going to move out. See if he'll follow us.
How fast can they swim?
On the surface, they make about 25 kilometres an hour flat out. Once they go underwater, you can expect top speeds of bursts up to 50 kilometres an hour.
Wow.
And along land, they can make bursts of speed on land, but running, if they have to, across the mud and down the riverbanks, up to 25 kilometres an hour. So they can outrun you in a sprint if you're between them and the water. Because remember, they're out, they can be up to 300 metres away from the water here getting the sun. So if you make a mistake, you can be in their areas, they can be behind you, between you and the water, and you don't want that. And they don't miss out there, so we want come over here. It's just nearly under it. But he's got this female, he's not sure whether it's a female or a male. Now I don't want him to break that. Oh. Sorry guys.
That's alright.
That was our last piece.
He was after his nuggets.
Yummy, yum.
So just remember, it's that stuff's only this. This is just a 4-ply cotton. So we're not holding him by much. Anyway, unfortunately we didn't spill along even the puddles along the sides of the road. So this is our 10 minutes to go alone. And we're going to make tracks back in a minute.
Do the markings vary just from crocodile to crocodile, or is it like
Yeah, they are. The faces are even different. So I get to a point where I know each crocodile just to look at them, because they have different facial features, they have different attitudes. All the animals, every single one of these crocodiles has a completely different personality to the other. Unfortunately, they're not thinkers. They have no thinking brain. Because they're not thinking, that makes them the most. Sharks are a huge part of the croc's diet. So people on TV say there's some sort of competition between them. Big crocodiles kill all sharks. Big sharks eat small crocs. That's how it goes. But there's no competition or some kind of death defying. That's what they do on TV. They tell you this fat